So the sentence is, in for Sean Diddy Combs, but honestly, the courtroom drama is just the beginning. In this explainer, we're going to dive deep into the very real dangers he's facing inside prison walls and the high-stakes legal strategy that's still playing out behind the scenes.
The central question hanging over this whole thing isn't really how much time he's going to serve. It's, can he even survive it? For a celebrity inmate, especially one like Combs, the threat level is just completely off the charts.
And look, this isn't just me guessing or some kind of rumor. That exact phrase, "he is a big target," was actually said in court. That's the legal system itself acknowledging that the danger to Combs isn't just some vague possibility. It's a known, immediate, and very serious threat.
Okay, so first things first, let's really get into the personal stakes here. What are the actual physical dangers he's looking at day in and day out? I mean, just think about how real this is. We're not even talking about what's waiting for him in federal prison yet. This happened while he was still in a temporary jail. An attempt was made to shank him. Now, thankfully, it was stopped, but it just goes to show you the threat is already there. It's not a future problem. And this right here, this really puts his level of risk into perspective. It's pretty shocking, actually. In the unwritten rules of prison, a celebrity is a massive target. Basically, the only people who are considered more at risk are those who've committed the most heinous crimes imaginable. That's the kind of danger we're talking about. So, knowing all these risks, how in the world did we get to this sentence? Let's break down the judge's thinking here, because he was definitely trying to send a message. All right, so the magic number is 50 months. But how the judge got to that number and what it actually means for how long he'll be inside, well, that's where some pretty interesting legal stuff comes into play. Okay, this is probably the most important part of the sentencing. Even though a jury found him not guilty on the most violent charges, the judge was still allowed, legally, to consider all of that testimony anyway. He made it very clear he was disgusted by what he'd heard, even telling one accuser directly, "I heard you." So there's this legal term for it. It's called acquitted conduct. And it's a bit of a mind bender, right? It means a jury can say not guilty, but a judge can still say, yeah, but I believe it happened, and I'm going to use it to give you a tougher sentence. It's controversial for sure, but it is a powerful tool judges have. There's this old saying lawyers have. If you want to send a message, use Western Union. The idea is that judges should just stick to the law and not try to make a statement. But come on, let's be real. In a case this big, judges absolutely want to send a message, and this judge was no different. Okay, now for the strategy part. And a really wild what-if scenario. This was a kind of legal Hail Mary that was on the table, but they never threw the ball. So one of the more out there strategies that got floated was this. What if, during his final statement, Combs didn't even try to talk to the judge? What if he was talking over the judge's head to a potential future President Trump? The play would have been to frame his case as another example of a weaponized justice system, maybe planting the seed for a pardon down the road.
But, like the great philosopher Mike Tyson once said, everybody's got a plan till they get punched in the nose. And that is exactly what happens in a courtroom. Your whole strategy can go out the window in a single moment. That's the thing. Once you get that legal punch in the nose from the judge, the moment he signals he's going a different way, you have to be able to pivot. You need that fluidity. But in this moment, the pivot to a new strategy it didn't happen. The window closed.
All right, so the sentence is locked in. What's next? Well, now we get into the nuts and bolts of the federal prison system and a process they call designation.
Right, so he doesn't just get put on a bus to a random prison. There's this whole formal process called designation. And trust me, this is a huge deal. It determines everything about his life for the next couple of years. His safety, his environment, all of it. And it's not like his team just sits back and waits. No, his lawyers, they even bring in special prison consultants, and they'll be making their case to the Bureau of Prisons, or the BOP. They'll show all the evidence of the security threats. But at the end of the day, even with all that lobbying, the final call belongs to the BOP and their own rulebook. So what's the best case scenario here? It's getting him sent to what they call a minimum security camp. These are the lowest level facilities, and the reason they're safer is that nobody there wants to screw up and get sent to a tougher prison.
So for Combs, getting into a camp isn't just about comfort. It's literally the difference between being relatively safe and being a target 24/7.
Okay, last stop on our legal tour, the appeal. So why is everyone saying that challenging this sentence is pretty much a lost cause? Why is it such an uphill climb?
This right here shows you just how smart the judge was. See that first bar? That's the sentencing guideline he officially adopted, over 70 months. But then look at the second bar. The actual sentence he gave was 50 months. By sentencing him way under the guideline, he basically built a fortress around his decision. How can you argue on appeal that a sentence is too harsh when it's already 20 months less than the official recommendation? It's a brilliant move, legally speaking.
And make no mistake, this was not a happy accident. This judge is known for being an incredibly sharp legal mind. He knew exactly what he was doing. He structured this whole thing to be what lawyers call insulated from an appeal. He basically made it bulletproof.
So that's where we are. The legal doors are pretty much closing, and the road ahead looks incredibly dangerous. The whole story shifts now, right? It's not about lawyers and courtrooms anymore. It's about day-to-day survival inside. And the biggest question isn't a legal one now. It's a personal one. Can he actually make it through this?